We're reading about how Nasrudin deals with export-import tariffs and what to do about trade wars and stuff. At the frontier, Nasrudin was carrying a basket of eggs across the frontier. The egg producers of the transporter country, anxious to preserve their rights, had petitioned the king. The king had decreed that no eggs were to be imported. The customs officer on duty easily spotted Nasrudin, took him to their post, and started to interrogate him. The penalty for lying is death. What have you in that basket? Answer: the smallest possible chickens. That comes under livestock. We shall impound them, and said the officer, locking them up in a cupboard while we make inquiries. But have no fear, we shall feed them for you. That would be our responsibility. These are special chickens, said Nasrudin. How? Well, you have heard of animals pining, getting old before their time, when deprived of the attention of their master. Yes. These chickens are so sensitive that of such a special breed that if they are left alone for a moment, they become young before their time. How young? They can even become eggs again. I don't understand it, but that's why we have the internet to deal with it. Try anything once. Nasrudin was lurking near a tavern. He was penniless, and besides, wine was forbidden to true believers. The Sultan's cupbearer came out carefully carrying a delicate flagon of wine. They caught sight of one another at the same moment. Honorable Saki, began Mullah. Give you what, Mullah? To ask for wine would be a direct admission that he drank it. Give me a piece of advice. Well, very well. Go and read a book. Half to himself, Mullah muttered, Oh, no, that won't do. Why not? Oh, I tried that once. Seems he tried reading books already. 7 with 1 stroke. And the soldier was back from the wars. The tea house was agog. One day on the northern frontier I slew no less than 6 infidels, all with red beards. There was a roar of applause. You can't cap that one, Mullah, said a wag who had just tricked Nasrudin into swearing that he would tell the literal truth for the next 24 hours. The Mullah drew himself up to his full height. Do not boast much, and I have sworn to tell the truth. Very well. Know all of you that I have myself slain 7 unbelievers with a single stroke. He stalked out as everyone looked at him with new respect, back to his room, where 7 unbelieving beetles lay in the shadow of his fly swatter. Raw material. Everyone in the tea house was criticizing Wally. He was generally admitted to be useless. And each person had something to say against him. That man, opinioned the tailor, whose words were usually considered weighty, is a cabbage. Everyone murmured his assent except Nasrudin. Not so, Aga, he said. You must be fair. A cabbage can be boiled and eaten. What could Wally be turned into? Catch your rabbit. People were talking about strange, sometimes mythical beasts, and someone in the tea house told Nasrudin that there were monsters to be found even near his own village. As he was on his way home, Mullah saw a new animal. It had long ears like a donkey, but it was brownish, furry, and chewing. So preoccupied was it that Nasrudin was able to steal up to it, catch it by the ears. He had never seen anything like this before. It was, in fact, a rabbit. He took it home and tied it in a sack, forbidding his wife to open it. Then he hurried back to the tea house. I found something, he announced gravely, which has ears like a donkey, munches like a camel, and is now in a sack in my house. There has never been an animal like this seen before. Immediately the tea house emptied, and everyone ran to Mullah's house to see this wonder. Meanwhile, of course, his wife had opened the sack, unable to restrain her curiosity. The rabbit bounded out of the house and ran away. She could think of nothing better to do than put a stone in the sack instead and tie it up again. Soon the mullah arrived with his friends, clamoring to see the monster. He opened the sack and the stone fell out. There was a dead silence. Nasrudin recovered himself first. Friends, if you take 7 of these stones, they will be found to weigh 3/4 of a pound. Hmm. 7 of these stones, they will be found to weigh 3/4 of a pound. Do you get that one? He doesn't understand it. All right. Pity the poor natives. Nasrudin was on one of his many teaching journeys, traveling through a rich country, heading for the capital. As his donkey plodded along, he was more and more impressed by the orderliness and prosperity of the farms on each side of the road. He reached the city on the first day of the new moon. Here it was the custom for people to go into the streets to see the crescent. Nasrudin knew nothing of this until he realized that everyone was pouring into the open and looking up at the moon. They may have a flourishing country, said the mullah to himself, but we, after all, have the moon almost all the time. She evidently appears here only when she is visible to us, when she is invisible to us. We are reading from the Incredible Mulla Nasrudin. That's quite odd. How far is far enough? Nasrudin was at a loose end. His wife told him to go for a walk. He started up the road and continued walking for 2 days. Finally, he met a man walking in the opposite direction. When you arrive at my house, he said to him, go in and ask my wife if I have gone far enough, or if she says that I must walk farther. Weird. Economic law. Economics. During the Crusades, Nasrudin was captured and set to work on the ditch near Aleppo citadel. The work was backbreaking, and the mullah bemoaned his lot. But the exercise benefited him. A neutral merchant passing by one day recognized him and ransomed him for 30 silver dirhams. taking him home, he treated him kindly and bestowed his daughter upon him. Now Nasrudin lived a life of fair comfort, but the woman turned out to be a shrew. "You are the man, remember," she said one day, "that my father brought for 30 dirhams and gave to me." "Yes," said Nasrudin, "I am that man. He paid 30 for me. You got me for nothing, and I have even lost the muscles I gained digging ditches." Hmm. 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 Interesting. Private property. Trotting his donkey along a road one day, Nasrudin saw some beautiful flowers by the wayside. He dismounted to pick them, and when he returned with his posy, found that someone had stolen his cloak from the back of the donkey. "Very well," said Nasrudin, "I shall have your saddle instead. Fair is fair." He got on the donkey and placed the saddle on his own back. Very strange. We are reading from the incredible pleasantries of the incredible Mulla Nasrudin by Idries Shah, The Way of the Sufi. And he's known as Hoja in Greece, and he's known as, I don't know what, in Turkey.